How could one woman satisfy 3 men? How could she make them all happy without jealousy tearing them apart? The people of Umuobi whispered about Adaeze's secret. Was it magic? Was it her charm? Or was it simply her love that bound these 3 men to her so completely? This was the mystery of Adaeze, and it was a story that the villagers would talk about for years to come. In the heart of Umuobi village, there lived a woman named Adaeze. She was known for her beauty. Her eyes sparkled like the stars above the village, her skin glowed like fresh palm oil, and her laughter could make even the saddest soul smile. But more than her beauty, Adaeze was known for something else. She had not 1, not 2, but 3 husbands, and each of them loved her with an intensity that puzzled the entire village. Her husbands, Obinna, Chijioke, and Emeka, were all different, each with their own strengths and weaknesses. Obinna was the warrior, strong and proud. Chijioke was the thinker, quiet and wise. Emeka was the farmer, kind and full of laughter. They all adored Adaeze, and somehow, she managed to balance her love for each of them without neglecting anyone. But this was not without challenges. Life in Umuobi was full of drama, and not everyone was happy about Adaeze's unusual family. It had all started when Adaeze's first husband, Obinna, went to war. Obinna was a brave warrior, and the village depended on him to protect them from raiders. But war was dangerous, and there were no guarantees. Adaeze was left alone for many months, unsure if her husband would return. During that time, she met Chijioke, the village scholar, a man who spent his days reading old scrolls and offering wise counsel to the elders. Chijioke had fallen for Adaeze's gentle nature. She was lonely, and he offered her companionship. When Obinna returned, Adaeze confessed what had happened. Obinna, instead of being angry, saw the loneliness in his wife's eyes and agreed that if Chijioke could care for Adaeze while he was gone, then he could be her husband too. The villagers were shocked. 2 husbands. Such a thing had never been heard of before. But Adaeze was happy, and her 2 husbands respected each other. Life seemed perfect until Emeka, the cheerful farmer with a heart as big as the sky, entered their lives. Emeka had always admired Adaeze from afar. He loved the way she carried herself, how she spoke to everyone with kindness, even when others were cruel. One day, during a village festival, Emeka gathered his courage and approached Adaeze. They talked, they laughed, and soon, they were inseparable. It was Adaeze who brought the idea to Obinna and Chijioke. She loved Emeka and wanted him as her husband too. There was tension, of course. Obinna was unsure, and Chijioke, though calm, was concerned about how this would work. Eventually, they all agreed. Emeka joined their family, and Adaeze became the wife of 3 men. Life with 3 husbands was not without its challenges. Adaeze had to find a way to balance her time, her love, and her duties as a wife to all 3 men. She created a system. Each night, she would spend time with one husband, and no one would feel left out. The other 2 would wait their turn, knowing that their time would come, and Adaeze's love was endless. The people of Umuobi watched with curiosity. Some judged her, saying that a woman should only belong to one man. Others envied her, wishing they could have the courage to live as freely as Adaeze. But the most difficult challenge came not from the villagers, but from Adaeze's own heart. One evening, as Adaeze sat with Chijioke, he spoke words that she had dreaded hearing. "Adaeze," he said softly, "do you love one of us more than the others?" Adaeze's heart pounded. She had always known this question would come, but she had never been ready for it. She looked at Chijioke, his eyes filled with both love and fear. How could she answer? She loved them all, but in different ways. Obinna was her strength, Chijioke was her wisdom, and Emeka was her joy. I love you all, she said finally, her voice breaking. I love you each in your own way, and my heart is big enough for all of you. Chijioke smiled, though there was sadness in his eyes. He understood, but the seed of doubt had been planted, and Adaeze knew she would have to work even harder to keep her family together. The elders of Umuobi had been watching Adaeze's unusual family with growing unease. They believed that a woman with 3 husbands was against the natural order, and they worried that Adaeze's way of life would influence the other women in the village. The elders decided to intervene. Please subscribe for part 2. Like and comment for more.